Okay, this video is to show you how to complete this assignment called the $30,000 budget, or My Budget is the name of the assignment. So this is what I've given you as the instructions. And so I've copied and pasted just the unformatted text for myself right here. And now I'm going to go through and show you how to complete it. So first of all, we need to select by clicking the big plus select, hold, drag across, and let's do a merge and center. Let's do that for all three of these top pieces of information, the heading. And then I'm going to highlight all three of them and just make them a little pleasant green. Then on this one, it says here to use the Alt key, so I'm going to double click so that it's in edit mode and act like I'm right here, but I haven't typed this yet, I'm pretending. So I'm going to hold down the Alt key like it tells me right here. It says Alt key, and then hit enter. Now when I hit enter, let's see what happens. Alright, so it makes it wrap, but it made it wrap too far, but if you guys are typing, there we go. When you're just typing it out, if you just hit that Alt key and hit enter, it makes it wrap. Now yours might look like this, might be wrapped too much, so just get a double-headed arrow and expand it until you get it on 2 lines. Okay? Let's change these to %. So before you type them in, you can actually highlight and convert it to % beforehand by clicking up here, the % formatter. And then if you just typed in 20, it would convert it. Or if you already had them typed in, sometimes it'll do this. Let's see here, I'll just turn on comma, I'll turn something else on. So if you typed in 20, hit enter. Oops, I meant to delete that here. Delete. If you turn on % and you type it, okay, it's working. If it says 2000, then just type in a 0.20, can do the conversion to a decimal, and then hit enter, and then it'll be fine. So if you're getting like 2000 in here instead of 20. Okay, now this one, we need to increase the decimal places. So select it, and then come up here, and you've got increase decimal places, and let's make it 3 places. Alright, so it's looking better. If this column is too narrow, because maybe when you guys typed it in it looked like that, you just need to double click on it. It auto fits it to the widest one, which is this one right after the word insurance. Okay, now let's get to the formulas. This one tells us equals C5, so I'm just going to type in equals on my keyboard. Let's see, this is a funky keyboard. Doesn't have the equals in the normal place. You guys have a great day. We'll see ya. Thanks. We're going to click on C5 and multiply it by the cell next to me, which is B7. C5 times B7. And when I hit enter, now on this one, the reason I have the dollar signs, I'm going to double click and show you. There's no dollar signs here, but I'm going to turn them on real quick here. Oops, the C5, I'll turn on the dollar signs. So it's Shift 4. Now the reason I did that was, if I were to copy it down, fill handle, let me double click, it takes this cell, multiplies it by this guy. And that's the correct answer. So I'm wondering why. What did I do wrong before that? Oh, I put in C6, B7. It's supposed to be C5 times B7. So I had the wrong answer earlier. Well, let's hit the redo and put it back. There we go. So now, we've got the correct answer in here. It would have worked, but the reason that I have the dollar signs allows me to use the fill handle. So we're going to do that down here. after I'd put in this formula, which is equals our monthly income minus these taxes and minus these taxes. C5 minus C6. What did I do? I accidentally clicked on this guy here. I'll move this handle out of my way. C5 minus C6 minus this guy. Alright, there we go. Now we've got the correct number. Now, let's see what I have. Do I have dollars and cents on the instruction? Okay, I put dollars here, and then these are just cents. Okay, so what I'm going to do is click on this guy, turn on the currency formatting, and if you look over here, okay, good, I have it to 2 decimal places. So, we're going to leave that one like that. All of these guys, we are going to turn on comma with 2 decimal places. And then it doesn't have the dollar sign. It's customary to have dollar signs on the top one of a column of numbers and then like totals. Since this is a total, I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. Okay, now on this one, I'll click this and move this handle so I don't accidentally click on it. Okay, now this one is the tricky one, and this one is the one that most people had questions on for me. And, oh, I just realized that I didn't have this one turned on properly. 30,000, immersion center. Let's get this one. Oh, I see. I need to change it to accounting. Or to currency, excuse me. And then it allows me to center it. Alright, so let's go back here. This cell is going to be just like these formulas, except it's using the take-home pay, percentage of take-home pay. So I'm going to type in an equals, and I'm going to click on this guy and say I want that guy multiplied by the cell next to me. Now this C8 needs to have the dollar signs. So I'm going to hold down my shift and hit the 4, shift 4 there. And the reason I do that, so that now I can use this little fill handle. Come on. There we go. And there we go. Now if I double check, I'm going to double click. Look at that. It says C8 times the cell next to me times that percent. And I'll hit escape to get out of it. I'll double click on this one. Sure enough, look at that. That's what the dollar sign is doing. It's so that when I use the fill handle, it freezes it up here, but it keeps, without the dollar sign, it keeps moving down, down, down. So each one of these takes the cell next to it and multiplies the cell up here. Otherwise, without the dollar sign, it would have said multiply this guy times the cell just 3 cells above me, because this one starts off as 1, 2, 3 cells above me. Then if I would have copied it here, it would have went this times 1, 2, this cell, and it would have been blank. This one would have said this times 2, 3, this cell. And so that wouldn't have been correct. We wanted to remain static. We call that absolute cell referencing. And that's when you use the dollar signs. All right, now our total expenses, we're going to use a sum function. Hit enter. And now this guy, cash on hand, is going to be equals this, our take-home pay minus our total expenses, and hit enter. And then we have $36 left over. Now how did I format? Let's go take a look at the formatting. Put a double underline there, and a single underline and double underline. Okay, so let's do that. And we've made some bolding here. So let's pretty it up, make it look a little nicer. We'll go like this. I'd like to do the whole thing, make it even better. A total for that one. This one is a total as well. Let's see here, cell styles, total. And this one, I want to have a line under it just because. Let's see here, this one. Look for the one where it's a bottom border. Cash on hand is bolded. Take home pay is bolded. You know, this heading doesn't look very good because it should be a little bit at least bolded, right? If it's a heading. But you guys can, if you want to, you can pretty it up and have it make it look nicer. But this is fine. The key here is I want it to be, see if you guys could get together, if you could figure out the formulas and how to make formulas. Alright, so fix yours if it doesn't match this, and then submit it. Again, even if you've submitted it once but it's incorrect, make sure your numbers match up with my numbers. Now the point of this is, let's say it's a budget for a personal budget. Let's say you got a raise and you're making $36,000. Oops. Per year. Notice all the formulas update. And then you'd say, okay, if my budget's 28%, now you wouldn't move right away, but if it used to be 500 and something, then you might use that extra money. This percentage of your overall income would go down. This would go down. And then you could use the money on something else. This was just trying to see, putting together standard percentages for different items and having you guys create formulas. That's really, but typically it works in the reverse where you have the money here and then you make a formula here. But I wanted you guys to make formulas here. So anyway, but that's how the worksheet works. It's supposed to be designed so that if you change your income, it shows you your new budgets. What I personally would do as I made more money, try to keep the expense down here low, keep putting more right here, right? That's the way to become quite wealthy when you get older. All right, you guys, go ahead and submit that one and you're good to go.